Hello you guys, and welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Social Studies. My name is Sarah, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about if you should go and get your master's degree in teaching. And if you are to do that, what are some of the programs that maybe you should be looking into, or when should you go about getting this? Now, this will definitely vary a lot based on what your own personal motivations are, the area you live in. I'm going to just share a little bit about my experience with hopes that it kind of helps you. Now, I am currently in the process of getting my master's degree in teaching. I did graduate 3 years ago and just started this past year, so I taught for 2 years and then went back into it. My personal reasons for doing it at this time, I knew that getting a master's degree was something that I wanted to do, and from a timing perspective, I wanted to make sure that I could get it done before I had kids. Now, I know everyone's got different paths of life, so that was something for me that kind of helped shape the timeline. I will admit I am largely motivated to get it done, especially to get it done early because of some of the financial benefit. For teachers, it's often through this graduate credit that you're able to increase your salary and move up several steps on the salary schedule. And what is interesting, based on the calculations I found for my program where I'm at, which is actually an online program at the University of Illinois, I found that it will pay for itself in about 4 years after I complete it. So that's kind of nice, knowing that yes, it is an investment, it is a cost right now. When I continue teaching, it will pay for itself in several years and then be very profitable. So that's definitely one of the key motivators. And I think with that, you have to kind of decide what is your reason why that you're doing it and what motivates you. Now, there's definitely a debate about online programs versus going to class, more traditional program. I know for myself, I definitely wanted an online program. I enjoyed being online anyway, and I knew for myself that after the day was done, I didn't want to have to drive to a campus somewhere for class and then drive home. Like that extra step I feel like would make for really long days. So it is nice. Obviously, the online college can maybe be a little less regulated because it's tough for them to know exactly what you're doing at all times. If you feel like you value some of that extra accountability to be sitting in a classroom learning, if that's helpful for you, then maybe that's something to think about. My program is Global Studies in Education, so it's a little bit of a non-traditional program. I knew for myself that if I was to go back and do this, I wanted it to be something that was really interesting to me. And I didn't want just a standard teaching one, but that was just my choice, and I wasn't looking to go in administration or anything like that. So I really liked the course offerings in this particular master's, and it has been very interesting courses overall. So that's something to evaluate too and see what kind of course offerings are there, how you can get your master's in education. So I've had some very interesting classes and more of a global focus. And that's something I try to do with my social studies curriculum, is to make it much more global oriented, prepare students for the global world that we live in. And so for me, it seemed like a natural fit. My particular program is a 2-year program, although it can be done more quickly, and it's really helpful. You can even just register for summer courses. It's a total of 8 classes. I'm finishing up the 5th class this week. Started in the fall last year, so I'm already making some extra progress since I am doing the summer classes. The cost for my program is about $15,000 total. I know cost-wise it's going to vary. Again, using those numbers, I calculated that I would earn that money back within 3 to 4 years. You can also consider if your school district is willing to cover any of the cost. The school where I previously worked did provide some credit reimbursement. The current school that I'm going to be working at doesn't provide any reimbursement for the first 2 years, which is kind of a bummer. But then after you've been teaching there longer, they will give you full reimbursement for that. Now, I will be done by then because I'll just have, after this summer is done, I'll just have 2 classes left to do. But that's something to think about as well. When should you get your master's? Should you get it earlier on, later? Here's my best advice. In my opinion, I would say try to get your master's as soon as possible, as soon as you feel comfortable, if you for sure know that teaching is a field that you want to stick with. For me, I love teaching so much and want this to be my career path in life. Now, I know life happens and, you know, there will be some kids in the future and other things, but for me, I knew that this was something I wanted to do, and so that's why I'm doing it earlier. Sometimes do I wish that maybe I was waiting a little bit till I was more established as a teacher? Yes, sometimes I do think that, but I know that I'll be so grateful to have gone through this and had this experience now, and so then in the future, I don't have to worry about it. I've got the degree, it helps financially, etc. But if you're someone who's unsure if you want to stick with teaching, roughly half of the people who start teaching leave the profession within 5 years. So if you feel like you're in that population, I would definitely encourage you not to get the master's degree, because I feel like it would be such a shame to go through all of that time and money and not actually stick with it, and maybe even have to get another degree somewhere else. That'd be definitely a recommendation of mine. So to really be patient with yourself, even though maybe you want to get it now for XYZ, be patient with yourself and decide if you actually want to be a teacher longer. Do what feels right for you. There's not an age requirement for this. I just think, especially if you're financially motivated to begin it earlier, I would say start sooner, just so you can start getting that payout sooner as well. So as soon as you feel comfortable doing it. Those are some of my tips about getting a master's degree. Obviously, a lot of it's going to vary by program, by state, depending on what you're looking for, but I think that it can be a really worthwhile process. It's definitely challenging. I have been frustrated at various points throughout the process and struggled a little bit myself balancing things, but I'm really happy with where I'm at so far. I'm in the final part of it, and we'll look forward to having that completed and to benefit from that in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or other teacher related content, we'd love to have you here as a subscriber, and we will see you for the next video. Bye guys.